close. So that's obviously a major first benefit. And then here in Columbine Hall as well, we have two of what we call Excel centers. So our Excel centers are a network of tutoring centers that are here on campus that are focused on different subjects. The two here in this department are going to be the Communication Excel Center, which is going to be for any verbal communication, any kind of speech classes or presentation projects, and they also do a large amount of interview preparation as well, which is very, very helpful. And then here, right across the hall, literally across the hall from each other, is the Writing Excel Center. So LAS classes, all of your majors, they're going to be what we call writing intensive. So that means, it sounds a little scary, but all that means is that a large part of your assignments are going to be writing. So discussion boards, papers, kind of like large writing projects. And the Excel Center for Writing is going to be able to take you all the way through conception of your ideas, all the way through the implementation and turning them in. It is an extremely helpful resource. I use the Writing Center for every paper I've ever written, and I've made A's on all of my papers, so it's incredibly helpful. And of course, as well, like you get all over campus, it's just very, very beautiful up here. All right, so now we're going to head down one floor to the ground floor here.
And as Cameron is utilizing those stairs, I just wanted to let everyone know we're going to lose him for just a second. So while he's navigating down to the first floor of Columbine, I want you all to know that when it comes to sociology, psychology, or many other majors, you'll have the opportunity to dual major, which is an option if you're interested in psychology and sociology. We have a built-in experience, so you can blend those two together. So instead of having so many general electives, for example, you're really getting an emphasis in both those areas and graduating with a dual degree in those areas. So really cool opportunities. You guys can take a look at that on our website. And if you guys want links to see that, let us know. But we should be catching Cameron in just a few seconds when he comes back out in the lobby. Just wanted to leave you all with those thoughts as he's regaining connection after those steps.
There's literally no way to avoid going down the stairs.
Here we are.
Are we back?
Yes, indeed.
All right, so it sounds like we're back. Eddie, can you confirm for me that we're back in the chat? Or in
You are back. Thanks for checking, Cameron.
Excellent, absolutely. Yeah, so as you go down the stairs here in the LAS department, so our building, we have a network of on-campus coffee shops, and there are coffee shops in several of the buildings, including the entire LAS department, which is amazing. Coming to class in the morning is a snap, just coming up from your suite, from your living area, coming in, swinging through the coffee shop, and then headed to your first class. It's a kind of a regular routine of mine that I really love. And the whole department is so centrally located. So much of the LAS department is going to be classrooms. Since many of your, since all of your majors, many of your classes are going to be nice small class sizes, maybe between 20 and 30 students. So because of that, there's a lot of teaching space here in the building to facilitate that kind of individual class sizes. And additionally, there are resources for you like the computer lab that we're about to go into. So this entire computer lab is serviceable for LAS students. That's kind of geared towards y'all. There are Macs and PCs all throughout, and there's also an IT help desk for anything you could need related to technology. This is also where computers are connected to printers that are available for students so that you have really easy access to this technology that's right here in your building. Right, so the main things that happen on this floor department-wise are going to be, this is a lot of where the criminal justice department is held. This is also going to be a lot of where women's ethnic studies has their department, and then the English department is here as well. On the floors above us, you have things like history, philosophy. On the fourth floor, the very top of this building, you're going to have the entire psychology department. So all the facility staff are going to be in these wings of the building. And then, of course, I just want everybody to take a look at the art piece that gives, that's related to this building's name. So these are going to be representations of Columbine flowers. They are the art piece that kind of represents the spirit of this building. There's art pieces in a lot of different buildings around campus, and this one's ours. So it goes all the way up to the ceiling. It's really amazing to look at also from the upper floors. It's a pretty wild feeling to look down over this incredible art piece. So yeah, this is one of the primary pictures of this building. All right, everybody get set. We're headed down the stairs again. If we lose you, we'll catch you downstairs.
Great. And as Cameron is moving down these stairs again, he's going to lose us for just a little bit once more. I am seeing a lot of questions about the majors. It seems like y'all are really interested in exploring some of those dual major options and interested in the way that the curriculum is laid out. So actually in the chat, I'm going to lay out a link for all of you there, and you all should be able to see that now. If you travel to that link and go to the College of Letters, Arts, and Sciences, you can actually explore each major and start looking at those degree plans long term, and you can see what kind of content you're going to be covering year to year, semester to semester, and you can compare the types of courses you're going to be taking. So if, for example, you wanted to look at the psychology major and look at what that looks like and compare it side by side to psychology, sociology, dual major, you can take a look at what those options look like and see the way that the content is structured. So I'm seeing a lot of those questions there, so I thought I would address that now as we're going downstairs, and we'll see Cameron pop back up in just a second. But I hope that that link helps. Keep those questions coming in the Q&A specifically, if you would, and we'll keep answering those to the best of our ability. Hang on for just a bit, and we'll see Cameron in a second. I heard Cameron come in just a second there.
Are we back? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Cameron. I'm not seeing any video, though.
All right. Speak again.
Right. Eddie, how's this now?
I can hear you if you want to keep talking through the tour, and we'll see if we can pick you up while you're down there.
Sure, that sounds just fine. So while we try to get the video figured out, I'll just describe where we are. So we're in the first floor of Columbine Hall. So it is sort of the bottom floor here. And the main things that are going to happen on this floor are going to be, this is where the large lecture hall for LAS students is going to be. So in your first year, your first few classes, especially in what we call core content courses, where you and your entire major are taking courses that are required as part of your education. Of course, those class sizes can tend to get fairly large. You're including quite a few students. So there is a large lecture hall here, holds about 150 students, and it's going to be down on this floor. We'll see if I can actually show it to you here in a moment. But if not, just imagine like a large amphitheater style lecture hall that is sort of long tables that have chairs interspersed in. All the tables are powered, so you can plug your laptop in from wherever you're sitting. And then in the front is a series of whiteboards and also a drop-down projector board so that the professor can present class in any way that they see fit. Down here as well, for some of my students who may be interested in the arts as a second major or a minor, down here is also going to be the photography lab and a few of the visual arts studies. a sculptural facing lab as well. All right, well, Eddie, I'm not really sure if we've gotten video resolved here, but that does bring us to the end of our tour presentation. So if we have time to answer any questions, if there's anything that students are asking about that I didn't bring up on tour, I can answer that as well.
So Cameron, we didn't get quite the video while you were down there. So if you guys want to come back up to the main level, find a place to get comfy, we'll actually try to transition into the Q&A phase, and then I'll feed you some questions then. We have had some great questions so far, so we'll see you in just a bit. In the meantime, as they're working on getting their video reestablished, I just wanted to touch on some of the questions that you guys are asking in Q&A, and we'll wait for them to come back on video, and then we'll move on to the next section. I saw some of you asking if this was going to be recorded. Yes, this is being recorded now, and we will be pushing that out to you in several different ways. So you can find that obviously on our website. We're going to see if we can put that up on Facebook as well. We'll find ways to get that to you. Feel free to let us know if you want us to send it to you. We can certainly connect. I'll give you my email if you want it sent to you, and then that way I'll get it sent to you myself. Alexa, we're getting Cameron's video feed again, so they're about to find somewhere comfy to sit down for the next section. So we'll get started in just a bit, and I'll continue answering questions. I see some questions about academic advisors and changing your majors. That's excellent. So when you're admitted to UCCS, you're going to go through a process called orientation. That's going to come up and be starting mostly around April 19th or so is when you're going to do individual appointments and start looking into course registration and more. At that point is when you're going to meet your academic advisor. Those folks are there to help you with anything you might have related to academics or majors. So whether it comes to majors about questions about switching your major or which major is right for you, at that point they'll be available to you. And then at any time you can reach out, let them know you want to change your major or add a minor, and they'll be able to help you with those things. So I hope that answers some of the questions about academic advisors or changing your majors that way. I see questions about research opportunities. We'll touch on that in just a little bit once we start with the Q&A of the student life portion. Oh, I see great questions. I'm actually going to hold on to some of these for the students to answer themselves. And then Kimberly, great question about committing to UCCS. The way that you show us that you're interested in attending UCCS is by registering for and attending orientation. So that's the extent of the formal process. You won't miss out on anything if you don't register for orientation sooner to let us know you're interested in coming. It's a pretty loosey-goosey process. It's meant to be as easy for you as possible. And then Cameron, I think you guys made it. Yeah. Awesome. I see you guys there.
Good. Excellent.
All righty. So if all my students want to get on camera very quickly just to show that they're here, and then everyone, if you want to switch to gallery view and hide non-video participants, you'll see us all in here. So hey students, thank you guys for coming. We're going to start with the student life portion of today. And I have a couple of questions for you. And then anyone in the call, if you have questions for our students, please drop those in the Q&A and I'll be able to ask those to the students. So first of all, what I want you all to do is if you could just introduce yourself briefly with your name, your major, and then your favorite thing about UCCS. And we'll get started like that.
All right. Hi guys, my name is Danica Solario. I'm a leadership communication student, and I'm going to be a senior next year. And my favorite thing about UCCS is probably the community, as we talked about a little earlier. You get all those big opportunities that a big school gives you, but you know everybody in your classes and you know a friendly face everywhere that you're walking on campus.
And then y'all already met me. My name's Cameron, senior psychology major. Danica stole mine. My favorite thing about UCCS is definitely, I guess more specifically being a part of the LAS department. I know my professors' first names and they know me, which is kind of a wild experience. And then just being so centrally located here on campus to where student activity is always going on around the LAS department. So it's just a really exciting place to be. That's it.
That's great. And then Zena, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, so my name is Zino. I'm a senior this year. So I'm a criminal justice major with an emphasis in pre-law, and I have a minor in environmental studies and geography. My favorite thing about UCCS is like the opportunities to get involved. I am an RA this year on campus, and I've been an RA for 5 semesters, and I've done other student involvement activities, and everyone in this community is so welcoming and they help you through so much. So there's a lot of opportunity to grow and find your identity on UCCS. So that's like my favorite part.
Awesome, thank you all. And then for my second question I have for you all, have you all found it easy to connect with professors and students through your program? And if so, could you tell us a little bit about what that process looked like or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. I'll go back. Yeah, all of my professors that I've had professors in freshman year that I keep having over and over again. And so you start to develop these networks and these friendships with them to where if you need help on just any project or you need to interview like a teacher or a leader, you have people in your network circle that you can reach out to. So those relationships build really quickly right from your first semester.
All right, and then so in my experience as a psychology student, it is very easy to get connected with your professors, and you will have, kind of like Danica mentioned, some of the same professors and students in a lot of your classes. So just naturally, with no effort whatsoever, your community builds that way. Many students want more, and the psychology department, in my experience, is extremely enthusiastic about bringing students in. So it's just as easy as going into office hours or going and asking your professors about what they do for a living. And if you want a research opportunity, you can do that as well. To where now as a senior, I work for actually 3 different professors in the department, and I'm required to call them all by their first names. And so that's definitely an example of like getting close to faculty members and really closing that gap between like instructor and student.
Excellent. And then what I also want to know is, have you all had any hands-on experience with your major of interest? Has that been built into your program? How are some of the ways that you've, gotten some of that hands-on experience? And could you tell us a little bit more about that?
So
Yeah, absolutely.
oh, sorry, you can go.
Sure, go ahead.
So I'm actually doing my internship, which is required for criminal justice majors. And so I'm interning at the teen court. But before my internship, there was other ways that I got involved in engagement through criminal justice. So there's these events that CJ majors have to attend. And before COVID, we used to have a lot of these hosted in person, which were really fun and a good way for us to like get our toes in the field to see if it's something that if we want to go more in like the policing route, more of like the law route. And it was, we had all these incredible speakers come and talk to us, and those are always free to attend for students, and they're on random days of the week. So if Tuesday never works for you, an event would be like on a Monday or Friday. So those were awesome ways to get it like involved. And there's also a lot of internship programs out there. So yeah.
Perfect. And then with a communications major, you kind of spend your time applying the theory that you learn in class in real life all of the time. So every class almost is a hands-on experience. You're learning these theories and suddenly you're at work and you're like, wow, I just learned about that on my Thursday class. And so everything turns into this hands-on experience. A lot of your assignments will look like applying this theory to movies, to your job, to your home life, your personal life. And so everything turns into that hands-on experience that you would expect in any major.
Great, thank you.
Right, and then really.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. We can move beyond.
Okay, sure, Cameron. Well, then I'll ask you this one then. What resources do you use at UCCS frequently to help you with your major coursework or just generally to find success at UCCS? Do you all have experiences that you can speak to about that?
Yeah, so I can start. Honestly, my main resource is going to be the writing and the communication Excel centers. I mentioned those a little bit on the tour earlier, but I really do mean that for every major paper that I've written in my entire time here, it's gone through the writing Excel center at least a little bit. It's staffed mainly by students, so it's really accessible, it's really casual, but they are the best in their field. Oftentimes, they also know your professors, so they know what your professors are looking for in certain assignments. So the Excel Centers, definitely an enormous route to success here. And then just personally, again, your professors are so accessible because they have kind of a lower student count, or like a lower course load than at a lot of larger universities. So it really is just as easy as making a quick appointment or going to their drop-in hours and asking them for help. They're really happy to help. And in my experience, they're genuinely excited when someone comes to office hours, because it surprisingly doesn't actually happen that often. So they sit there and they get bored. So if you go in, they're going to be pretty excited to see you.
Yeah, and then mine are very similar to Cameron's. I use the Writing Center 3 times a semester. And then of course the Communication Center is wonderful. You give a lot of presentations as a comm major, whether that's teaching a lesson or just giving like an oral presentation on whatever the theory is of the week. So that Communication Center is something that I use all of the time. They give you kind of like a briefing of how you can fix your like communication style or the way that you're giving your presentation. They give you tips. So I use that pretty often.
Excellent. And then I have some questions that students have submitted. Specifically, I want you all to speak to a student who's exploring criminal justice and psychology as potential majors. And if you could just state your favorite thing about those majors and your personal experience.
So my favorite thing about being in criminal justice is like taking your classes. Each professor has like an expertise in a different field. Like some professors have like been correctional officers, while others, like John Whalen, was an FBI agent, and Dr. Walker was like in the police force. All these professors come from very different fields and have a lot of knowledge to pass on and very interesting stories, which I really enjoyed. So I'd always like choose my classes with professors that I haven't met before, as like in criminal justice, just so I can see what they have to offer to me. And it honestly has helped me figure out what kind of path I wanted to take in criminal justice, because initially I wanted to do something more law enforcement, but just hearing the stories and being hit with reality, I figured out that it wasn't for me, and I would have not gone that if the professors hadn't shared their experiences.
Thank you. And then on the psychology side, so first of all, for psychology majors, pretty much the very first class that you take is one that we call Professions of Psychology, because I know psychology is a pretty large field. There's a bunch of different areas where you can go. So the UCCS has actually created a course that introduces you to all the different areas of psychology that you could possibly go into, which is extremely helpful. And actually, in my personal experience, I identified the field that I'm going into. I was introduced to something I'd never heard before during Professions. So that's a really good way that UCCS gears success towards students. And then I'd also like to say that especially when you're considering between psychology and criminal justice, UCCS actually doesn't make you choose. You can do both. So you can combine those two majors into a course load, into a career path that allows you to combine the two fields and utilize the best parts of both. So that's something pretty unique that the LAS department does, is it allows you to combine majors and minors into like a unique education path.
Thank you both. Those are really valuable perspectives. So thank you for sharing those. And then we have time for one last question. And I know, Cameron, you touched on this earlier. So just to clarify, are most freshman courses housed in one area or building, or are freshmen spread out across campus? And you can answer that for both like general freshmen or freshmen and psychology.
Yeah, so for the psychology department, and you're right, I did mention it earlier, almost all of my classes have been in this building. This is my second home. I have eaten in this building. I have slept in this building, which is very good. It's a place where you get to know really easily. You get to know your way around, and then once it becomes familiar, it's also a place that feels very comfortable. This is like my building. It makes UCCS my school, and that's really how I think about it. And part of that is because I spend so much time in this department. So I think it's a really positive thing that pretty much most of your classes are going to be in this one building.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for helping out with the student life portion of today. You all have been really, really awesome. If you want to stick around, feel free to do so. I'm just going to ask that you turn your cameras off, and we're going to have some folks probably chatting and stuff if you wanted to stick around. But for all the students and parents who are still here, we've got one last session incoming for all of you. I'm going to quickly share my screen to help you get to those sessions. Perfect. So I hope that you all can see this here. Next, we're going to have breakout for faculty sessions. So for those of you who are interested in sociology, you'll have your own specific room that you will go to. And that's the same for communication and psychology. For those of you who are interested in criminal justice, you're actually going to stay right here in this session with me. But for those of you who are interested in sociology, communication, or psychology, if you'll go ahead and type these URLs into Google or your preferred search engine, hit search. That'll take you to your next session. There's no password required to join those. Just let me know if you have any issues getting there. We'll move on to the next portion of this in about a minute. So you guys can all start heading out to those breakout sessions, and you'll be greeted by your faculty members in there. Alrighty, I see folks making their way out. That's excellent. And hey, Katie, no problem at all. You can go to whichever you want to go to. We'll make sure to record them. And then if you want the information from the other one, just let us know. You can always send us an email at go@uccs.edu. Again, that's go@uccs.edu. We'll help you find any other information that you need. So if you want to go to one session but have questions about the other, let us know. We'll help you with that. Yeah, folks, so you'll see on screen now that you'll see those links to the sessions. So you just type in that link to your preferred search engine. That'll take you straight to the Zoom session of that subject. So it's a great and easy way to get those that information there. I'm assuming that most of us are in the right place. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. And then I will hand things off. Excellent. So, Dr. Cathcart, this is all yours.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Katie Cathcart, and I am a senior instructor for the School of Public Affairs, where I instruct primarily undergraduate criminal justice courses. And I also do a lot of recruitment for our program. And so welcome to this session. I'm excited that you're interested in UCCS. I'm incredibly proud of it. So I just wanted to start and give you a little bit of an overview of the makeup of our department and who's there, and also just some of the funner things that we do with our students. So before coming to UCCS, I worked for the Colorado Department of Corrections for about 15 years. I was 21 when I went to work there, and I had just graduated and, jumped into the prison. And most of the information that I give here now at UCCS centers around prisons and corrections. I also work with a number of colleagues who are former practitioners from the field. One of them is Richard Radabaugh. Rich is, he was a 30-year police officer with the Colorado Springs Police Department, and then went to law school and had a law firm for a great many years. And so he really brings a lot of wealth of information about advanced interrogation techniques, things like that. He does a lot of interesting upper level classes like that. And also he really dives in and helps our students who are interested in law and getting them ready, LSAT practice, things like that. We also have, Rod Walker. Rod Walker was a deputy chief with Colorado Springs Police Department. And so he also has an over 30-year career there. and did a lot of homicide work. And so he really puts out a lot of interesting classes that center around that. We also have Dan Olson. Dan Olson was a JAG attorney and taught for the Air Force Academy for a great many years. He is also a part of our team as an instructor. We employ many adjuncts from the field, attorneys, judges, prosecutors. We bring them in as instructors in our program so that you get a lot of field experience, a lot of great stories to help you really identify the perspective, what it's like to work with people like that, what it's like to, join the field, actually make a degree, translate to a job in criminal justice. So that's why we're here. We also have a large faculty of academic professionals who do a lot of research in the field that are constantly focused. They're tenure track professors. They do a lot of research, a lot of writing, pushing out relative information, a lot of relationships with a lot of agencies, doing research that keeps our campus relevant. It keeps us connected all of the time to the changing scene and different trends in criminal justice. And so extraordinary academic professionals, and that makes up our team. So the fun things we do, I like to share those with you guys because I know it's kind of tough seeing the transition from high school into college and just from professions into college, seeking degree advancement. Some of the funner things that we do with our students is first, I'll talk about our engagement events. Our community engagement events, we kind of associate that with our coursework and push those out as assignments in a lot of our classes. And we invite you to go out and meet professionals in the field by doing ride-alongs, going to visit the coroner's office, going and visiting some of the agencies. But we also bring a lot of professionals to the campus to meet you. And we do that so that you can shake hands with the people that are going to hire you and also just interact and kind of navigate the field and interact with people to see where your connection lies. We know everyone in criminal justice in Colorado, the people that work in this program. We have connections with every professional in Southern Colorado. And so we invite them, we bring them to the campus, we put them on video links constantly to share all of that information with you and have you have opportunities to make connections. So we do that every semester. We also have a very cool mock trial team that is led by Dan Olson with the assistance of Richard Radabaugh, and they travel all over the state doing competitions with other mock trial teams in Colorado. So very interesting work there, constant work there. We also have an Academy of Criminal Justice team or Association of Criminal Justice team, that student team that we support for competitions. They do shooting competitions, they do crime scene competitions, and all in an effort to, again, connect you to the field and to give you hands-on experience and to put things on your resume to help you get those jobs. We also have a study abroad program that we lead every summer. We go to, we have itineraries that go to London to study criminal justice history. We also have itineraries in the Netherlands that study human trafficking. And so we're constantly building out our study abroad program for our students. And we've taken over 100 students overseas with that program. So those are some of the things that are available to you in the School of Public Affairs. So incredibly interesting program. It does translate to jobs, the School of Public Affairs, which is very nice when you're thinking about the directions that you want to take and the professions that you want to work your way into. It's an incredibly good choice. And so I'll start to look a little bit into some of the chat, and I'm sure encouraging some of your questions, guys, to have to apply to study abroad. Guys, a lot of our students will kind of prepare for study abroad. They'll say, I'm coming in this year, I want to learn about it, and maybe I'll go next summer. Or during my sophomore or junior year, I'm going to go with you guys study abroad. We don't really have an application process per se. If you are an alumni or if you are a current student, we invite you to come. we put out the cost of those programs a year in advance so that you can really think about it and work towards it, and understand how much those costs are and the benefits to it. We also offer course credit if you'd like to seek course credit for those things. Usually, guys, it runs, the London trip runs between 2,000 and 3,000, and that's airfare and all of the housing and all of the events that we do. The Netherlands runs a little higher than that, and it just kind of depends on airfare that year. So we work very hard to keep those costs as low as we can. Very careful with vendors so that we're getting you the biggest savings on things like that that we can. So other questions, guys? What are you guys interested in? Some of you, shout out some of the positions that you are interested in.
And Dr. Cathcart, I had a question a student sent in about what kind of course load and what kind of coursework could they expect in the program.
Sure.
And speaking to that.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. We have a kind of a standard requirement course load, and those are really focused areas on criminal justice, policing, and understanding the judicial process, executive process, and how those things go fit together. So we really walk through that carefully, build a foundation of criminal justice understanding underneath you. And then in your latter years at UCCS with us, then we are offering elective credits for you that center around the area of concentration. So for example, we have concentrations in forensics, we have concentrations in courts, and if you're heading to law school, we have concentrations in law enforcement. And so depending on what you're heading to, then we offer a wealth of advanced level elective credit for you, so you can choose for yourself and start to pick some directions. For example, if you are interested in working in the field of law enforcement, if you're interested in going towards Colorado Springs Police Department, Denver Police Departments, things like that, then we will build those foundations underneath you in the first couple of years, basic credits, requirements, again, in fundamental law enforcement and fundamental intro to criminal justice, crime theory, things like that. And then options for you following that would be, for example, advanced interrogations classes, advanced forensic, crime scene management, things like that, that are very applicable to the field that you're going into, that are very focused. We also have a lot of interesting classes coming forward in firearms, in cybersecurity, things like that, that are very specialized to some of the interests that you have. And so, yeah, those are really, usually our students are taking between 3 and 4 classes a semester, depending on, just your resources and also just your financial aid, things like that, requirements for you in regards to that. And also if you're working, things that you can do. So that's what it usually looks like, the course load for you. And of course, the campus does have requirements for math, English, those basic foundational requirements for you. So you can always find me. If you type in Katie Cathcart on the UCCS website, you will find your way to me quickly. You'll see my picture, you'll see my email and my phone contact information. And if you reach out to me, I can share some of those interesting pamphlets, information with you that really break our degree down specifically. We also have some interesting stuff. We have a dual degree program with criminal justice and sociology and criminal justice and psychology. So if you have interest in one of those 2 areas, you could essentially get a dual degree here, which means at graduation, you have a degree in criminal justice and a degree in psychology. We have those degree programs built out. And so I can share all of that specific information with you and get you in touch with advising so they can see where you're at, see what a good starting point is for you, understand what the costs are, understand the application processes. So please reach out to me with that, because it is my pleasure to help you. You don't ever have to feel like I'm bothering her. Please reach out with those questions.
And Dr. Cathcart, I have another question here. If you're familiar with it, I'd appreciate, could you clarify if there are any medicine-based classes involved with criminal justice for someone interested in going the route of forensics?
Oh, medicine-based. Oh, that's interesting. The forensic science classes, guys, there's a close association with biology, with forensic science, actually, far more than kind of medical classes or medical-based programs, or kind of that kind of curriculum. A lot of times it pushes towards biology and science, microbiology, things like that. I can certainly share with you our concentrations, guys. We work very closely with the coroner's office here at UCCS. In fact, we place our students, we require an internship with you as you finish your degree program. And we do that so that you can connect directly to agencies you're interested in. They can get a chance to meet you, and you can train under people that are going to hire you. So one of those connections is the coroner's office. And so students that are interested in forensic science, we really lean into our relationships there. And we have had a number of graduates go into that field and working locally. Those students maintain connections with us so that we can share their progress with our incoming students, so that we can introduce them to students who are interested in doing similar things. And so I have all of those contacts available for you, and can connect you with some people so you can really understand what that path is. But yeah, to answer your question, far more science-based and biology-based courses associated with forensic science.
That's an excellent answer. Thank you so much. And another question I've seen pop up here is, are there any challenges that you foresee for a student going down the path of criminal justice? Are there any challenges you could speak to from the student perspective?
Guys, we conquer those challenges in this program. For example, some students come in and they have a little bit of fear about working with dangerous people. They have a fear of working with firearms, things like that. And so we recognize that and capture it early. We present you with all of those things. For example, we take tours into the jail regularly. We take tours into the prisons regularly with you, at your side, so that you can experience some of those things, that you can feel that a little bit. Also, we just share with you countless stories about what it was like for us. I was a kid when I went to work in a maximum security prison. And so I know what it's like to be a student and work at the same time. I know what it's like to be a mom and work at the same time in these fields. I know what it's like to try and find that job, and then what it feels like to be nervous but have to make it work. And all of my colleagues are in the same boat. They all went through it with you, or like you. And so we know what that fear is like, and how to overcome it, how to get interaction before you take on those jobs, so that you're ready and that you have had some experiences with that you can adjust to, that if you have fears coming into that we can help you to manage those fears and get to a place where you're professional and ethical in your practice. And so I totally understand what that's like, some of the fear associated with coming into a field of criminal justice. You temper that constantly with excitement, right? This is a very exciting field. There's a lot of interesting things that happen here. But it changes, the field changes all of the time. It develops over time. You become a higher level professional. You promote into leadership positions and kind of advance out of practitioner baseline positions over time. That's just an example of some of the things that we can share with you and help you understand. We can share some of our career progressions with you to help you understand what helps you promote, what helps you deal with some of that fear. What it's really like to use force, how we understand and control that and use professionalism in that way. So we're here to that's our job here. We all are completely devoted to you when you come to UCCS, into helping you succeed and understand all of those things and win in this field.
That is excellent. Thank you so much. I'm not seeing any other questions come in from these students. So you've done a very thorough job at explaining and addressing those questions. So I want to thank you for that.
Great. Please know, guys, that you can reach out to me. Don't be afraid at all. You can come to the campus and see me. You know, we can work it out where you can walk around, meet some of the people that I have mentioned. They love it. They would love to meet you. And, you know, we're here for you. We serve the community. And so, you know, whatever your decisions are, wherever you go, whatever decisions you make here at UCCS, we are here in the academic office building to give you constant guidance, constant support.
Excellent. And I'm going to take this opportunity actually to share, if you're okay with it, your email in the chat so that students have it.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. My email's there. You can find me on the website, guys. You can see my contact information there also. So please reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. I could also meet with you guys, meet with your parents, you know, your families, and help them understand also if they have fear or, you know, just questions. I'm available. I know some of you are working into fall semester and have things like that going on, graduations, things like that, but we can make it work. And I'm available through the summer.
Dr. Cathcart, I just want to thank you again for your time and for your availability for the students. We really appreciate that. As we're wrapping up here, I want to take a moment to thank the students, parents, everyone for coming out, sticking around for this section in particular. So thank you all for being a part of this. If you're interested in any other events similar to this one or completely different to this one, we put them on online. You can go to uccs.edu/virtual and you can sign up for any future events. But otherwise,
also, I want to mention also quickly that I'm going to be putting on over the next few months 3 or 4 more virtual sessions that really dive into our program, that provide some really in-depth detail on that. I'm going to invite some of my other colleagues to come and join me in those. So if you have interest in that, please hit me up by email and I'll share those links with you.
Sure. And Dr. Cathcart, if you want to share those with us as well, we can help get students there. So
okay.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you everyone for coming out today. I'm going to go ahead and end the session. But everyone enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thanks again for sticking.
Bye everybody.